Well, good afternoon, viewers, and here we are at Knowles Garden Tractors and Firewood. And today is Sunday, the 26th of October. And it is the Sunday afternoon fireside chat, which is in the afternoon today. Anyway, I'm going to show you a little something here, and we'll get moving along. So I'm just going to give you a quick view of how I start my fire here for today, and different boxes that I use and things like that. Well, today's choice is an egg cart, so I'm going to go over to my kindling pile here and fill this up, and we'll get her going here. There now. That's just what I do, and just fill that up, and I'll shut you off here for a second so I can. If I had three hands, it'd be handy, but I don't have three hands. All right, we're going to throw that in the stove. If I sound a little bit strange, well, yeah, that's normal for me, but anyway, I still have the cold, so it is getting better, but still not quite right yet. So yeah, set that in there, and we'll get the fire going here. See if I can do this one-handed here. See, that's what the trouble is. You gotta have three hands to do these movies sometimes. All right. Just like that. Now we get in here and get her going. There now. So while that's going, like that, I'll just kind of close this over a little bit. Then I'm going to go and get two sticks and split them on the electric splitter. All right, I got a couple of sticks. I just used my pickaroon and hauled a couple down, so we'll chop these up. There now. Now we'll get you turned around here without getting you too dizzy. There we go. I'll kind of show you this in a little better detail here in a little while. Holy cats, look at the mess of that. Oh boy. All right, so fire's going. I'll just set you here for now, and let's see if I can get the. So yeah, the kindling and stuff is going not too bad there now. So I throw in this wood. There now. It'll take just a couple of minutes for it to get going, and then once it's going, I just close up the door there and let the thermostat do its thing. Other things working great. Nice steady heat. Yes, sirree. So while that's getting going here, I guess I'll do a little bit of goings on here with the chat, I suppose. There's another box ready to go in for a fire. So yeah, that stuff works great. Just to get the fire going. And we're burning a little bit, so you know we're at the end of November or end of October, and still didn't burn a whole lot of wood. I guess not really being that cold out, but then again, I'm kind of wondering if the stove is not burning as much wood as it used to because of all the air leaks through the firebox, which could be. But we'll know more as time goes along, because normally the row I'm working on there, that's normally the October-November row. So usually that's gone by the end of November, and then we start into the back row. I know it's kind of hard to see there. I'll move over here maybe. Yeah, you can get a better look at that. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, oh yeah, look at this, holy cats. Stuff everywhere here. Gotta put that away. I've used that for the last time, I think. Anyway, we'll get on to what is going on there in a little bit. Yes, sirree. And then we'll get on to the, do a little investigation on the Case tractor, and then we'll do a little talk about a tool that my son made, and then we'll do a little talk about the MF12. And yeah, so once I get this going here, yeah, she's pretty well ready to close up. All right, so I got to stop for a while. I got to go to the store and get some milk because we're almost out of milk. And I'm going to get myself a coffee. And sometime through the chat here, I'm going to switch to the remote mic and see if it makes any difference in the sound. Anyway, lots of little things to do. Hopefully I can remember them all. All right, so she's going pretty good there now, so I'll just close that up like that, and the little door and thermostat will do its thing when it needs to. And we'll go and have a look at what the temperature is in here now. 56 degrees there, so we'll see what it is when I get back. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I'm back from my run to the store, and I got myself a coffee, and I got some milk. So we'll have coffee in the morning tomorrow. So our temperature now is 62.6, so came up 6 degrees or so since I left. And I just put a piece of wood in it. So that's not bad, it works pretty good. Yeah, gotta have a drink coffee. All right, so look at this here mess. Holy cats, I'm telling you. Well, I got into some goings on here the other day, and I made a, holy jumpings, it was about a 50-minute video. And I edited it down to about 28 minutes or something, and I still was annoyed with it, so I deleted it all. Anyway, me and my video skills aren't that great. So I need to get this bearing out, and then when I get this one out, I'll be able to get the other one out in here. This is basically the same. There's a bearing in the bottom there. There's a steel pipe in the middle between the two bearings. That's the same thing that was on the Jacobson. And of course, one of those I did on the Jacobson, the steel pipe turned, instead of being like this, it turned like this. So then I couldn't get to put the shaft through, of course. And I couldn't get anything in to get the bearing out, and holy jumpins, I was in quite a mess. So anyway, I made this puller here. You might remember that if any of you watched that last year. And then this is part of the puller too. And I think that's part of it. Anyway, it worked good for what I wanted to do, because I just needed to get one bearing back out, so, and I had no tool to do that, so I made the tool to get it out. So now, because I had just put it in, it was easy to pull it out. So this one, there's no way to grab anything in here. Now, I've got a washer in there now, but so I'll try and do this story quick here. So there's a groove in here between where my flash, oh there it is. There's a groove in there between the bearing and the pipe that's in underneath there. So I thought, well, if I could get a washer down in there and have it concaved, and it would, when you pulled on it, it would kind of straighten out and push itself into the groove in between the bearing and the pipe. I thought maybe that would pull it out. So I did that. I ground that off and made it fit and pounded it in and whatever. And I concaved it like that, or more straight than that, but like that, a little bit more. Then I ground off this inside edge here just to make it slide down in through. And it did exactly what I thought it would do, but it didn't pull the bearing out. So what it did was, when I tightened that shaft to pull it up, it bent the washer back to straight and almost back past being straight and concave the other way. And I don't know if you can see it or not there, but it cracked the washer. But it had a good hold on the thing in there. Holy cats, it was a pulling, but it just wouldn't pull that out. And I can show you, if you can see that, that's concave, and that used to be flat across. So that's how much pull it had. But anyway, it didn't pull the washer out. So my tool working thing didn't work. And my son made a tool yesterday, and his tool worked. So there you go. Let's see if I can show you that picture here while I'm thinking of it. Yeah, so that there is what he was wanting to make. And to buy that, from what he tells me, it's about $500 for that thing. That thing is 8 inches across. It's a fairly big unit. It's for doing, they use it for doing wheel bearings, I guess. So, and even the used one is $200 if you could find one. So he ended up making one yesterday. That's what he made out of stuff of around the garage. I got it in the right way here, not there. The only things he bought was the 2 or the 4 nipples, so that cost him under $10 for that. The threaded rod he had, the plate he had, the other bits and pieces of iron that he has there, had that too. Of course, it all had to be bought at some point, but anyway, just all that stuff that he had there. And he used it yesterday on something, and it worked great. So there you go. That's the good thing. Now, so then I find out he has a slide hammer thing here, which I don't have, so I took that home, thinking maybe I can rig up something here. So I'm gonna, I think this nut, it's a 7/16 nut, fits onto here. Like that. So I'm going to weld that onto there. That's my next plan of attack. And see if the slide hammer will pull that bearing out of there. And I have put the PB blaster to it again yesterday. And I'll do it again today. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. So that'll come up this week here, I think. Anyway, holy cats, look at this bench here. Holy, 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 holy. Look at this stuff in the way. Yeah, it just makes you wonder some days. Anyway. Yeah, what am I going to do now? I got this ladder in the way, so I can't do any. We'll do a quick eye focus here, an eye exercise. Just the focus part today. So we got a new focus chart. So there you go. Yeah, so anyway, here we are again now. Anyway, I'm hoping to get this later today, maybe at least try and clean this up here a bit. And see what we can do. So we'll move along here, I guess. I should go and put the remote mic on, I suppose, and see if that's going to make any difference. I'll have a sip of coffee first. All right, next on the agenda is we're going to have a look at the case here, just a quick look. And I have a suggestion from Steve at Rusty Wrench Restorations. He asked me if I did something, and I didn't, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll get back to you. So we might as well do the weather here while I'm up here at this end. Alright, so I guess we're kind of all screwed up here again today on my video, and so it's going to take a while to get myself used to things here, I guess. So anyway, we got 10 degrees Celsius at the moment, and northwest wind at 9 kilometers an hour, so basically no wind. It would be kind of a cool, wet week, I would say, but look at that. Alright, so Steve suggested, Steve from Rusty Wrench Restorations, if you like tractors and things being restored, boy, that's the channel to go to. And he has great videos on tractor shows, tractor pulls and parades, and just showing of tractors and equipment and things like that. He's got great videos on that. I'm in the middle of one that I didn't finish yet because I was commenting so much. It was taking too much time to get through it. So I had to stop and told Steve that I'd resume today, maybe, hopefully. So Steve suggested to me about the vent in the cap on the gas tank. So he wondered if it was plugged, maybe, because now I don't know if any of you might not be following along or whatever, but I was having a little bit of trouble with the engine in this hunting for fuel, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. And like I say, I did a few things to it, and I don't know if I've corrected the problem or not. So I haven't had it running. So Steve seems to think that maybe this vent in this cap was plugged. That's the hole there. There's the hole on that side. Oh, I don't know. I'll just blow through it, I think, and see what happens. Yeah, it does seem kind of, I can blow through it, but not very easily. I may have to get that plastic piece out and see what's in there. Anyhow, well, I'll do that off camera at some point, but anyway, we'll see what's going on in there. Thanks, Steve, for the idea. That's something that I always normally check, but never thought on this one. Anyway. Yeah, so I did change the gas filter in here. I changed that the other day. And I'm not sure if I like that or not. I think I might put one of them little plastic ones in that doesn't have the paper filter as a metal screen filter. I think that's what I might do. Anyway, all right, let's move along to the next topic. So soon, and it may be next weekend, is that trailer has to go to my son's place because we're soon going to get weather where we may be getting salt put on the roads, and I don't want to get salt on that trailer. So it goes to my son's place and stays there for the winter, and we don't use it unless it's absolutely have to. And then if we do absolutely have to, we try and do it on a dry pavement day. So that's what's got to go on in that, like I say, maybe next weekend. Now, the other thing is my son seems to have a spot in his lean-to put another tractor. So I mentioned yesterday, and he said, yeah, if you want to do that, you go right ahead. So anyway, I've been half thinking about maybe taking the MF-12 over to my son's place and storing it there for the winter. But that's only a half thinking, so I'm not sure about that yet. I don't know. It would give me more room. I could move this case over here, and I'd have more room to work on stuff. But anyway, I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I kind of half thinking, another half thinking thought, but anyway, I might, and I don't know if I do that this winter or not, but I might change that from a winch lifted loader to a hydraulic lifted loader. And it would take a bit of goings on, but I do have something to run the pump. already on the tractor. So you can't see it there, but that pedal there runs would run the mowing deck. If there was a mowing deck on it, you'd press that pedal and the deck would come on. And then if you have a tiller on, it runs a gearbox to drive the shaft all the way back to the tiller. So the gearbox is still underneath there because this tractor had a tiller on the back of it. So I could maybe mount a pump underneath the tractor and then figure out where I could put a tank and then a couple of lines and a handle and a cylinder, and it would take a bit of goings on, but I could maybe hook up a hydraulic cylinder to the loader on this. So that would be kind of a fun thing to do, and it would give us another loader that would pick up more than it would with the winch. Now it's not built like this one here to pick up heavier stuff, but you probably could pick up at least maybe 100 pounds maybe with it. Maybe. Anyway, and I would leave the trip bucket the same way as it is. That doesn't bother me at all, so I wouldn't need a hydraulic cylinder on that. But the lift would be kind of neat. Have a cylinder mounted in there somewhere. And don't cobble up the thing too bad, so that if the cylinder didn't work, I could put it back to the way I have it here now. Anyway, that's just another thought. That's why I get these thoughts, I don't know. Something there you can see, I guess, kind of. The old walk-behind snowblower. My father bought that in 1969. It's a 1968 model. He bought it used. Oh boy, that thing moved a lot of snow over the years. Yes, sirree. Anyway, I use that a lot. So I guess that's about all of the goings on and rambling. I think it's backwards. I think it's the rambling and the foolish goings on. I guess I better stop and maybe go through the stickers here, I guess. I'll get a drink of coffee. So that will be it for that. Now look at this mess here. Holy cats. Yep. Anyway, I find my pointer here. I don't know how loud I'm talking because my ears are plugged from the cold, and I don't know what's what. Bad shape, this poor old fella. Alright, so we'll get going here, and as we always do, we start with Grampy's workshop. I have to make sure I get this thing set so that it's up where it's supposed to be. There. Mike wasn't quite happy with his attachment shelter on the ends because of the way he folded the tarp in, so I could see why. So he and his wife Janet, they came up with an idea to make it better. So Grampy was working on that on his Friday video. I think he's got it back to where he wants it. Now he still had to do a little bit, so there might be an update on Tuesday on what he ended up finally doing. And then we come over to Murphy Mowers. Lee and his wife are in Maine, Bar Harbor, Maine. He messaged me the other day and said he was wondering how far away I was from there. And I said, well, about 8 hours, I guess, driving time. Yeah, he was just kind of wondering. So anyway, that's where the Murphys are. they spent a few days there, I guess. So, and we have Len's keeping busy, and we have Garden Tractor Boy. Look at that! Look at that now, Joseph. Holy cats! How many times I looked at your video to watch it, and I didn't watch it yet. So I'll do that this afternoon, hopefully. Yes, sir. And we have in the backyard with Dell. And then we have some more here. And then we have Kenny, the Firewood Adventure. And then we have Dave, RCAF Polar Express. Dave had a good video on there, fixing up his and servicing his walk behind Columbia snow blower that he leaves at the airport so he can clean the snow away from around his airplane. So that's a good video, all kinds of good tips and tricks in there. And we had maintenance with Mike, and Mike was having trouble with pulsation in the brakes of his, I think it was a Toyota 4Runner, I think. Anyway, he did a whole bunch of work to the front system and couldn't find nothing wrong, and ended up finding something in the back that was causing the troubles. Then we have Lewis Mowers and Boats, Brock, and retired for life. I guess he's all done with fixing up his house. And then we have Rick's Outdoors. Rick's been kind of interested in, they're changing all the power towers in his area there. Holy cats, what an expensive job that'd be. Tearing down all the big towers and putting up all new concrete. I don't know what kind of poles, but they're just a pole instead of a tower. But yeah, gravel and machinery and jumping, it must be expensive. Holy cats, it'd be millions and millions of dollars, I would think. Yeah. And Noel's Garden Tractors and Firewood. Well, he's always up to something there. I was over to my son's place yesterday, and he made that tool that I showed you there, and that's worked out great for him. Twinbrook Acres. Rick has bought himself a Massey Ferguson 12 garden tractor. So that's great. I'm quite happy for Rick for that, because it's a great little hobby to have going. And I know he's busy with other things, but he'll find the time to work on it. And he won't be after me wanting my 12 or my 14, which he was a while ago. So then we have Everyday Projects Craig. Craig is working on a rescue jack, I think he called it. I forget now what he called it. But anyway, fixing all up the floor and all that kind of stuff. Did a great job there. That's right up my alley, that kind of carpentry. Because you wouldn't have a clue I wouldn't have a clue what I was doing. I'd just be putting stuff in to fix it. And it may not be the way to do it, but that's what I would do. Gravely Man Small Engine Repair. Artie. There you go, Artie. I forgot. Yes, sir. I forgot. Again. And I know I seen something. It's on Thursday, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, sorry, Artie. In my busy little shop with Robert Little. He had a live there on Saturday. And the log father, he was talking about the Blue Eddy solar battery things and charging up stuff. And he's right into doing camper vans and things like that too, for where the off, I don't know, he's not necessarily off grid, but he's right into these solar things and batteries that they use to power things. And Allen Family Firewood, I guess I didn't get to see that yet either, but I think he blew up his motor for his wood splitter. Big Sun's Probably still cutting grass. Cod Raven had a video out this morning there about how to hunt bears or something, I think. I didn't get to watch that. Tucker and I out and about. Outdoors in the 608 where Jeremiah was out with his 2 saws and cutting up wood. Larry Cluck outdoors. Ross on the land. Club Dora. Al. And K&L Firewood. Mike. And Gator's World. Gator was talking about how the autumn is moving along. And we all know what's coming when autumn moves along too much, doesn't it? Yeah, we know that's coming. And Bradley's and Catbird Hill, haven't seen too much from John lately either. Father and Son Outdoors, Daryl Wells, different stuff, and Tractor Talk with Gary. Well, you gotta go and see that video right there. He's got one out using this tractor to haul wood with. 1958. I can't remember the number. 520, I think. Anyway, using that tractor to haul wood with. Boy, oh boy, that old tractor sounds so nice. Yeah, just hook onto the log and drive away, and it doesn't even change the sound or the speed of the motor. Dandy. And Rusty Wrench Restorations. Great video there. If you like shows and tractor pulls and that kind of stuff, parades, he's got a great video on that this past Saturday. Like I say, I only got halfway through it so far because I've seen so much stuff. I just kept commenting, probably driving poor Steve crazy with all my comments. But anyway, I didn't get to watch it all yet, so I've still got another half to go through. So that hopefully will be today. And then we have Adirondack Woodsman. They're right there. So I didn't get to see any of them either. I seen something there not too long ago. Oh, the tree frog. Yeah, that was kind of blended right in with the tree. So as you can probably tell by my voice, I'm pretty well done with talking for now. And I guess I better stop and rest the voice, I guess so. Anyway, all right, so there we go. Another Sunday afternoon fireside chat, October 26th, I think it was. I better look. Yeah, October 26th. So not too long now, we'll be into November. And so that means 1 week until hibernation. So have a great day wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, and we'll chat again soon.